I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for the mentors and even the organizations that I got involved with at a really young age. One of the first ones was Eddie Rodriguez, who I got connected to through this program called Rewarding Achievement, that was paying kids at struggling inner city public high schools to get ahead and pass AP exams. But one of the things I learned early on, even just about the mentors and the champions, is that to be able to receive that, you need to be willing to ask for help. And so one of the pieces that I always think about when I think about mentoring or think about getting ahead is being aware enough to know to ask for that. And in my career now, I've realized that uh, it's not a class thing, right? Asking for help is uncomfortable, regardless of what class you come from. Asking for help comes with all of these inner voices. Oh, I don't want someone to know that I'm not smart enough. When you're poor, it's I don't want to owe someone something because I have nothing to give them. Or I don't want to burden someone. Forget about the other two, right? I don't want to be a burden to someone. And you come up with all of these reasons not to ask for help, right? Or I don't want to seem like I'm self-serving. And so those, they're there all the time and you have to push past them. And the way I pushed past them, at least when I was younger, was I said, I wasn't getting this help just for me. The whole purpose of getting the help was to be more successful. And that's the purpose of help anywhere, right? Get through whatever challenge, obstacle, or whatever it is I'm facing faster, right? Or get through it. You might not even be able to get through it without the help if you're not willing to ask for it. And so I want to get through it. And the reason why I want to get through this is because it's going to allow me to do more for my community. It's going to allow me to uplift other people. It's going to allow me to do more for my family. And so if you can change it from this inner critic of selfishness to a place of selflessness, it makes it easier. It doesn't eliminate the feeling, right? You're still going to have that feeling in your stomach of, oh man, or what if they say no, right? The rejection feeling on top of all of that. There's all these reasons not to do it, but you have to get good at it. And I don't think there's any percentage that's like higher or lower depending on your class. But I will say that if you're underrepresented or you're a woman or you're growing up low income, that if you don't ask for help, those social safety nets and support systems that exist for someone who might be more affluent or well-connected don't exist for you in the same way. And when I used to get asked the question, what was it about you that made it different? Like, how did you get out? I got that question, I remember fondly. And I used to, in the beginning, always say, there's not enough opportunities for kids growing up like me. And if you understand anything about business and you're a good business person, you know this. You don't take every single opportunity that comes across your desk because not every opportunity is a good opportunity, right? You make decisions and you evaluate them. And so if you're growing up in an environment where there aren't that many opportunities and you say no to an opportunity, you may not get another one. And I used to drill into that logic. And then I realized I was mentoring someone a lot younger who was about to start at Cornell, who grew up in a very similar situation. And we were sitting down and I did what I thought any like recent grad would do is I told them all the professors to avoid, all the classes they should take, all the clubs they should join to make sure that they got good grades and would have a great experience. And we were talking the first couple of weeks. He was super excited. He went through it. And then I didn't hear from him for months. And I had finished in the like top 10% of my class. Like I knew what I was doing there. I was more than capable of helping. I helped with the personal statement. I helped with sourcing recommendations. And so I thought I had proven myself as a trusted resource and almost like this older brother figure. And then I just let it be. I know Cornell is stressful. I know there's a lot happening at any given moment, or you're just busy. And months later, he reached out and said that he failed out. He was on probation, had to do a semester at a community college, but had now rebounded. He was at the tail end of that, and he'd be going back to like university the next semester. And I realized in that moment that the difference between me and him is that had I been going through that and I was struggling, I would have reached out in the beginning instead of after the fact. And it was when I just had that epiphany that most people just don't ask for help. And if you don't ask for help, you're not going to get it.
Yeah, I think that's so true. But it's such a moment of vulnerability to admit that you need help, but that's when people are there to help you through it or to guide you. And it's one of the most important things you can do is to ask for help. And it's very hard to do as a woman or an underrepresented group where you feel like they gave me this chance. If I ask for help, they're going to think I don't know what I'm doing, that I don't belong here. You're back to the imposter syndrome. So,
and unfortunately, immediately, you don't have an uncle who's a VP or a chief, whatever, to say, hey, have you checked in on my daughter recently? Or, hey, how is she doing? Which I use the private and public school example. Low income public school, you're one of 500 kids to a guidance counselor. Like, you didn't submit your college application. Like, who's going to go through all of them to know that you're the one who didn't submit? Private school, you have smaller teacher to student ratio, you have better guidance to student ratios, and they're tracking more diligently. You don't get that application in, they're going to come for you eventually. It may not be immediately, but they're going to come and figure out why you haven't submitted, and someone will find it. And so you almost have this like disadvantage already working against you, that if you're not more intentional when you're coming from a position or a place where you don't have the same resources, that you're just not going to get the same support.
That's true. That's true. And everyone needs help. So no matter where you started. So it's okay to ask.
And everyone who succeeds gets help, which we don't talk about as often either.
That's true. That's true. You look around, and when we've talked with all of these leaders, there are so many examples of people who have gotten help from mentors and champions along the way.